welcome to the Chase That Decides, live from the National Tally Room here in Canberra on the eve of the federal election.
Yes, just 2 days to go now before Australia goes to the polls in what will surely be the most important vote we cast all year. After Australian Idol, of course.
Sure, and finally we are starting to see a real trend emerge in the polls with a massive climb there for the don't care vote. And in fact, based on the results of my own private phone polling, which I conducted at 3 a.m. this morning, there's also increases for do you know what time it is? If you call again, I'll ring the police. And Warnie, is that you, pet?
Yeah, well, I mean, the polls are all over the place at the moment. You know, who do you believe? Yeah. You know, Morgan's got Labor ahead, News Poll's tipping the coalition, while Malcolm Mackerras is backing a Democrats' landslide.
Well, with the contest poised on a knife edge, both major parties have spent the final week of the campaign targeting the elderly.
Yes, traditionally Liberal heartland, of course, given most stage voters tend to empathise with Howard as an imminent retiree. But Labor pulled a real surprise with this Medicare gold.
Oh, yeah.
I think they know if they want to win this election, they're going to have to get that grey vote in certain key marginals.
Well, that's exactly right, Chris. In fact, if we have a look at a seat like Richmond, for example, a home to quite a large elderly population, and in fact, as that population's continued to age, we have seen a significant softening in the Labor vote. But Labor's promise this week to list Viagra on the PBS should, on my projections, considerably improve their standing.
But what other policies does Labor need to woo the nation's elderly? We polled some senior citizens on behalf of the ALP to find out what it would take to win their vote.
Now, Labor's obviously trying to woo what they call the grey vote for seniors, and they've got a few other ideas for other policies to try and win over the grey vote. We just wanted to see what you think of them and how they're going to play. Is that all right?
Yeah.
OK. Get the Becks and get it paid for by the PBS.
Well, I wouldn't be happy with that because a hell of a lot of people don't want to go and work, you know, they just want to drag on.
Right, OK. Well, no loud music policy. What do you think of that? Do you think that would win the grey vote for Labor?
Certainly.
Yeah?
Because many people at 11 o'clock, they have to sleep.
I would support that 100%.
It's awful. It's not music, really.
Yeah, well...
Just noise.
What sort of penalties do you think there should be if that legislation
Oh, I'd
was
say
correct?
6 months jail.
Now, what about a national 10-kilometre speed limit? The cut down on all those 30-kilometre-an-hour hoons.
Beautiful.
Good idea?
Very good idea.
Well, I think they might as well get the horse and car again if they're going to do that.
And I'd get rid of the cyclists while they're at it.
Are there any other thoughts that you've got on policies you'd like to see Labor introduce?
I'm not mad on cargo pants.
Right.
They look like thugs, half these people.
Sure. Any other things you'd like to see?
Rings through noses and lips.
Yep. OK.
All should be banned.
Sure. Do you think they should be taxed or just banned completely?
Oh, I think the people should be put out on some sort of rehabilitation place.
Right, OK.
Away from the decent members of society.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very busy first term, isn't it?
And some hot tips for the Labor Party there, helping them protect old-growth people, not just old-growth forests.
And let's face it, they're going to need all the help they can get after coalition fortunes were massively boosted this week by the arrival of a new boat on our doorstep carrying hundreds of high interest rates.
It's incredible timing for the government. It's dominated the headlines all this week in both the Murdoch and the Fairfax press. And unsurprisingly, it's playing very well for Howard.
It is. And I mean, look, I was initially quite sceptical when I first heard these reports. But then when I saw the photos from both on board the freighter's deck and then earlier, just before they were rescued, well, then I started to sit up and take notice.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, these are government photos, so there's no reason to doubt them.
No. Exactly. And despite growing international pressure to let the fiscal cargo ashore, the government's held firm, defending its tough stance.
They're not coming to the Australian mainland.
There is no way they will be coming onto the mainland.
They will not be welcome in the mainland of Australia.
An unwavering line that I decided to take up personally with Attorney General Philip Ruddock.
Do you stand by a position that you decide what interest rates come to this country and the circumstances in which they come?
We stand by border protection arrangements that are
border protection, particularly in the case of interest rates?
Let me just say we have kept boats out.
You've kept the boats out?
We've kept boats out.
Are you concerned under Labor they would let them in? They'd let the interest rate boat in, do you think?
I'm concerned that under Labor you'd be paying higher interest rates on your boat,
Because of the boat, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, more on this unfolding story when we return. You're watching The Chase That Decides.
Look out for the Liberal Party Pork Thunders. Your chance to share in our $25 billion surplus bonanza. And all this month, we're celebrating Shocktober.
Yeah, Davo here in the Port Thunder. As far as Shoptober, we got heaps of free scare tactics to give away. So why not come on down and grab yourself a race terror warning, stacks of updated travel alerts, or one of these alarming photos of a refugee boat heading for our shores. That's the Liberal Party Port Thunder, just about the only vehicle on the road you can trust not to be a car bomb.
Port Thunders, cruising the streets until the election for Shoptober.
Labor faithful, stop what you're doing. Are you organising a party function? Then you need the all-new Wheel Out Whitlam. It's the perfect addition to any LP event. The Wheel Out Whitlam's guaranteed to boost photo opportunities, adding credibility to campaign launches, book signings and fundraisers. Pull the string to hear an instant Whitlam endorsement. Like, this candidate's nearly as good as I was. I mentored him personally. Or the recurring classic, I was robbed in 1975. So don't rely on the new guard to attract the voters. Invest in the Wheel Out Whitlam today. At only $19.75, this is one Whitlam that you'd be mad to dismiss.
Welcome back to the National Tally.
I tell you what, Craig, those Wheel Out Whitlams have really taken off. Philip Adams was telling me that he has wine and cheese with his one every night of the week. I think they like to argue over who started the Australian film industry.
Yeah, well, I blame them both.
Oh, look, no, that's nothing. Bob McMullen's so used to his Whitlam, he's confusing it for the real thing.
Hi, guys. See you, mate.
And look, I think that's not a bad thing. Anything at all that can help you with your media profile, I'm all for that. And frankly, the one person that could really use some better media training is Tony Abbott.
Well, certainly every time we've tried to talk to Tony, he's been at a total loss for words.
I think he's run out of ideas. People are very worried about this one.
So you're remaining tight-lipped. I'm taking this as a fact that you're going to let the vote land.
John could be deputy. What do you think? Sounds like strong support.
If you don't say anything, that means you want me to get rid of the rodent.
Yes, I've always thought complete silence was an odd approach in an interview, you know, but, I mean, maybe in Tony's case, though, it's actually preferable to what happens when he actually talks.
Tony Abbott, on another matter, have you met Archbishop Pell during the election campaign?
Not that I can recall.
Not that you can recall, because we believe that you've had at least one meeting with him quite recently.
Well,
you don't recall that? At the Presbytery in Sydney?
Actually, now that you mention it, I did meet with Cardinal Pell. So what? Why shouldn't I meet with Cardinal Pell?
Well, look, just in defence of Tony there, who can remember something that happened as far back as 2 weeks ago? And frankly, George Pell's not a particularly memorable person.
Yeah, but I bet Abbott won't be forgetting Tony Jones too quickly, judging by the death stare that he gave him once the interview was over.
Tony Abbott will have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks.
I'm glad it was Tony in the seat and not me.
Oh, you know, but by his own admission in that interview, he is an imperfect Catholic.
Very imperfect, I would have said.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's a man crying out for spiritual guidance, that guy, you know.
So I thought I'd give him some, in the guise he knows best.
Tony, come so you can give penance here today. I've come from the Cardinal, Pell. He's very insulted you forgot his meeting. How many days has it been since your last confession, Tony? Are you offering up a silent prayer, Tony? I tell you what, let's take a photo so you can remember this meeting. I know you forget meetings with archbishops. Let's get a photo. Smile, Tony.
Well, he's back to the old silence routine. At least he's learned something then.
Well, don't speak so soon, because 10 minutes later, I talked to Tony Abbott again.
Great to have Tony here.
Tony Abbott, have you met with an archbishop in the last 10 minutes?
Mate, you're not funny, and you should get it.
He spoke to me. Praise the Lord, he spoke.
Order the Jeanette Howard commemorative plate today and receive this free attachment head strap. Guaranteed to keep you silent and obscured at all public engagements. It's the perfect accessory for the Australian housewife, around the home, on the court, or at any official function. The Jeanette Howard commemorative plate. Next time, don't just bring a plate, ladies. Wear one as well.
Don't miss the Brian Harradine end-of-term clearance. Everything's got to go, including Australia's biggest collection of banned adult videos. Over 6,000 hours of the filthiest pornography Brian didn't want you to see. Every single frame carefully examined by conservative lobby groups, often repeatedly, so they could be absolutely sure it wasn't fit for viewing. Lay by now and receive a free copy of the movie it took 19 viewings to disapprove of. The Brian Harradine end-of-term clearance, going out with a bang. It's triple excellent value.
I'll just walk in there, put the paper, fold it and walk out, mate. Just into the footy, that's it, mate. Stuff the elections, it's the footy season.
Live from the nation's capital, you're watching The Chase at the Sides, where there's been a breaking development in the Tampa 2 saga.
That's right, sir. We've just received word that the Howard caretaker government has ordered the SAS, that's the Special Accountancy Service, to board the vessel in a strengthened bid to stop these higher interest rates entering the country.
And a short time ago, Defence Minister Robert Hill made a Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. Hanson.
Hello, this is John Howard. I've taken the unusual
Look, go away. No, look, as if your spam emails weren't bad enough, you horrid little man. Look, I'm so sorry. Sorry, this is the fourth time he's called me today. You
almost wish you lived in the bush just so his calls couldn't connect properly.
Oh, we wish.
But back to the election now.
Oh, for God.
And with the real prospect that the minor parties could hold the balance of power in the Senate, Julian, can we just have a look at how the chamber would look under that?
Sure. Well, this is the upper house as it currently stands. But if the Pentecostal Christian Party Family First gets the balance of power, then it'll probably look a lot more like this.
One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I could live for.
Look, I think the Christian vote is an issue, this election, as more Australians want to see a return to conservative family values.
But just how family-friendly are most politicians? To find out, we went to the seat of Wentworth to test the credentials of bitter rivals Malcolm Turnbull and Peter King. How will they each cope when confronted with a baby on the hustings?
Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Just with the health issue, right? Our baby's had some fairly poor conjunctivitis.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Like, just have a look. It's been just here.
Do you want to have a hold?
Yeah.
You want to have a hold? There
Thank you.
Oh, Peter King, you've just dropped the election.
Totally took his eyes off it. I mean, that is the oldest mistake in the book. Can we just have a look at that one again?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you can't hold a baby, then you're not fit to be a politician.
Yeah, but look, I wouldn't be too hasty, Chris. I mean, let's just see how well Malcolm Turnbull fared.
Did you take a peek?
Right,
He's gorgeous. I'm very proud. Here you go.
Oh, yes, a kiss! Give me a kiss or I'll cry!
This is not a baby bonus.
He's my pride.
Gee, I can't believe Malcolm refused to kiss the baby.
Yeah.
Especially one so cute.
A man of the people, no doubt about it. And he's not the only candidate adding genuine star power to this campaign.
Well, it's true. I mean, most of the politicians these days are so drab. But how would voters respond if candidates used a glamour portrait photographer to shoot their campaign poster?
Chesley Chadello decided to find out.
Now, Len, when you take a poster, right now, you look like this. But with a little bit of tweaking, you could look like that. Jazz up your posters, jazz up your whole campaign. It's time to turn that campaign into champagne.
What do you reckon?
Look, I wouldn't call it glamorous. And they said there's no more glamour in One Nation since Pauline Hanson left.
And now from there, big smile. This is a very complicated business, isn't it?
Carrie!
Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Don't you feel electable?
No.
That's what I call a hunker burning love right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Senator Harris, I am all shook up.
I need you to stick the bum out of me.
The lady knows how to win votes, Ursula.
Love me tender, love me true.
I think we need something a little bit more me. I think we need something a little bit more action. Like, I mean, real action, not this kind of action.
You wanted green, you wanted action. Green action. Robin Hood, what do you say?
I can do this one.
This is a campaign poster I would like to see.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, don't worry about the balance of power. Worry about the balance of fruit.
To the Senate and beyond!
What do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic, yes. Go for the oranges and the lemons.
No, I wouldn't vote for the ALP.
But you vote for the poster.
Vote for the poster, yes.
How about this poster here?
Yeah, he's a winner. I've never seen anyone look better.
Yeah.
Especially the open top.
What's your advice to the politicians of Australia?
Get up and get dressed.
And Len Harris can also be seen in next month's issue of Black and White magazine, or at any rate the One Nation version, White and White.
It's not a bad read, that. I actually saw Paul Sheen flicking through a copy at today's National Press Club lunch.
Yeah, it was a good turnout at the Press Club, wasn't it? And I actually polled a number of the journos there to ask them what their key issues were, and overwhelmingly, most of them nominated wine refills.
They may not show it, but deep down, I think most journalists will really miss John Howard, especially all the junkets we got following him around the world, eh?
Yeah, well, look, let's face it, we're all going to miss John. Let's not kid ourselves. He has shown amazing strength and leadership, and never more so than this week, standing up to Rove.
You expect anyone who stands up to Rove. And Howard, a record that speaks for itself, as highlighted in the party's latest rousing campaign ad, saluting his achievements.
He's the soldier of justice, the hero of right. He knows what we're thinking deep down. He took a weak nation and taught it to fight against everyone foreign or brown. When he tells you a lie, just look to the sky, 'cause sometimes he's gotta be tough. He stands shoulder to shoulder with President Bush, and still we just can't get enough. On the battlers and bosses, through good times and grim, he's poured down the wealth and we've stood under him. We've been golden showered by Johnny Winston Howard. We've been golden showered by Johnny Winston Howard. He's been showering us. We've been golden showered by Johnny Golden Winston Golden
The election, ooh. Well, no, it's a bit of a toss-up. I don't like Johnny Howard's eyebrows, so I reckon I'll be going for Mark Latham.
Right across Australia, you're watching the chase at Asides, and just returning to the unfolding drama on board the Tampa 2. The government has now imposed a blanket ban on media access to the ship.
Well, look, I think that they're concerned that press photographs will humanise the interest rates, you know, maybe even generate some sympathy for them in the community.
Not to be thwarted, though, by these restrictions, our embedded reporter Chaz Licciardello has boarded a paratrooper plane and is currently skydiving down towards the vessel. Chaz, what questions will you be hoping to put when you land?
I'm taking a look at questions in the plane! We go back up!
Sorry, we seem to be losing you there, Chaz. We're just having trouble with the picture.
Can we possibly go to a wide shot on the ground?
Ow!
We might have to come back to Chaz a little later.
But to a different policy battleground now, Tasmania's old-growth forest. What do you think?
Yes, well, on Monday we saw Mark Latham make an $800 million pledge to save Tasmania's trees in a clear bid for Greens preferences.
Yes, and if we factor in those preferences, that now actually nudges Labor ahead in Tasmania. But if you take into account the backlash from forestry workers, the policy does appear to have backfired.
Well, it's been one of just several mistakes we've seen from Latham this campaign. Inexperience. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen it time and time again. And you've only got to look at their dismal campaign slogans.
Oh, dreadful stuff. Hackneyed phrases, cliches, more mixed metaphors than a room full of Cocker Spaniels.
I know. What the ALP really needed was some strong slogans that actually explain what their policies are.
Charles Firth and the Chaser. Now, we've come up with some slogans for you. What about Labor, fifth time lucky?
Oh, we're aiming for the next one. Haven't you caught up with the news?
No, you can use that in the next one. Come on. I think you should have that one.
Do I keep that?
Yeah, you can
Good
keep man. it. What about this one, Jenny Macklin? Now only a pancreas away from the leadership.
No, I don't think so.
Because she doesn't have the numbers.
Well, there's that.
You're an outrage,
Come
as
on.
always.
You don't like that?
At least you haven't read
Come
my
on.
picture.
Well, we've got a slogan. It's over there. Taking the pressure off families.
Oh, yeah, we've got one.
Oh, you
for
got
that
one of
as
those?
well.
Yeah.
Taking the pressure off families and on to sole parents.
No.
Come on, it's more honest. Labor now almost union free.
No, that's not true.
Craig Emerson came up with this one.
He did not.
Breen didn't like this campaign slogan either.
But he didn't like that part of it either.
What about this one? Labor against preemptive strikes, except on taxi drivers.
You're being mean.
Well, he was pretty mean to the taxi driver.
No,
And put it up.
No, they won't let me take it. You know I'm not going
get in with it. That's because you're a unionist.
They don't
let you do anything. What about Labor, the best choice, if calculated weekly?
What about daily? Monthly?
But just not annually. Yeah?
Sensational.
You're going to use it? Do you want to take it down?
Absolutely, thank you.
Remember to credit me.
Oh, well, I just hope they have time to implement those slogans in the 36 hours before polling starts.
And to the education debate now, and Julian, can we just have a look at the seat of King's, please?
Sure. Now, the King's School, of course, one of the biggest seats in the country. In fact, if we just zoom in on it here, you'll see that it covers an enormous area, although only a few privileged residents actually get to live there.
Yes, and look, with all the resources the government's been pouring into it over the last few years, I really can't see them losing it. So, yeah, I'm calling King's for the Libs.
Well, the division between public and private education has never been starker. And to help us understand this issue a little less clearly, Charles Firth compiled this special report.
Tonight, our school's in crisis, run down, underfunded. John Howard blames all these problems on a lack of moral values, something I confirmed when I went undercover as a schoolboy. Nobody knew the second verse of the national anthem. Beneath the radiant Southern Cross. Some of the students looked as if they came from overseas. And I had to have an affair with my English teacher. But John Howard has a solution. A flagpole out the front of every school. So every kid knows what the Australian flag looks like. As you can imagine, once a flagpole was put up, this school's moral decay was immediately reversed. In fact, the flagpole was so miraculous, I thought I'd take it to other people who Howard thinks need a dose of values. It straightened out gays, fixed the Aborigines, and you can just see the values increase in this vagrant. Of course, experts say what schools need is not values, but billions of dollars of extra funding. So Howard's flagpoles, or the experts' billions. Maybe we need to combine the two and have billions of flagpoles. I'm Charles Firth. Firth with the facts.
Here at last, the easy way to get the country in shape with the Amanda Vanstone Exercise Video. A total migration workout that'll keep Australia looking taut and trim. Lose borders fast and see how in just one easy parliamentary sitting, you can go from this to this. Say goodbye to those unwanted refugees with the Amanda Vanstone Exercise Video. Shape up and ship out.
I won't be voting for Mark Latham.
Why's that?
Well, because I saw on TV the other day that he can't even, manage Liverpool's local council's government. So how is he going to manage Australia's $8.5 billion economy?
Live from the National Tally Room as we continue the countdown to democracy's Night of Nights. And it's time once again to present the coveted Mal Award.
Yes, the Mal Award, handed out each week to the politician who most disgraces themselves on the campaign trail. And this week it goes not to an individual, but to an entire political party. And I can think of none more deserving than Family First.
Yes, Family First, the new ultra-conservative political force who've consistently denied their Christian links, despite the fact that a vast number of their candidates are pastors at the Assemblies of God Church, including their founder, Andrew Evans.
We have no connection whatsoever, and I made that very clear from the beginning.
Now, if that is the case, and they're not a Christian group, then how do they explain a leaflet printed by Family First candidate Danny Nalia, who's also a pastor, which asks supporters to spot Satan's strongholds, such as brothels, gambling places, bottle shops and mosques? And then just this week, another Family First staffer in Brisbane argued that lesbians should be burnt to death.
And yet, despite all these beliefs, Family First has managed to win the support of the Prime Minister himself.
I would rather give my preferences to a party like that than I would to the Greens.
So, for denying their Christian links, but then waging an open war on Satan, the Family First Party are the very deserving winners of this week's Mal.
Joan Woods, congratulations. We'd like you to accept the Mal Award on behalf of the whole Family First Party. Willing to take for a fantastic week of campaigning.
Excuse me. Thank you.
It's been a great week. particularly Danny Nalia's comments about Satan's strongholds being bottle shops, Muslim mosques. What about those? You support those, don't you? Do you want to take the award? You can at least give it to Danny for us. Please, please. This could be the only thing Family First wins. This is your first time election. You're not going to take the Mal Award. This is the hugest privilege.
Well, great job for the whole party there.
Still, I mean, I will say this for Family First, though. They've spent less time with archbishops than Tony Abbott has in this campaign.
And that's all we've got time for tonight. We don't work weekends, but be sure to join Kerry O'Brien and the rest of the B team this Saturday for all the results from 6:30 onwards.
Will Anthony Green be on board as usual?
Yes, I believe Anthony will be calling some seats, although the Victorian seats this year are going to be called by Peter Wilkins.
Well, he's got so much local knowledge.
It's a good decision by ABC management, that one. I mean, nobody knows Victoria quite like Wilco does.
And we'll be back, of course, with a full wrap-up of all the results, triumphs and heartbreaks, same time next week. Until then, good night.
Yeah. Oh, hello, here we go.
What's going on?
Have you seen his screensaver? It's
had to happen.
Hello, Julie McCrossan here from ABC Radio National's Life Matters. Join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. when we take a look at this disturbing new trend of running cross-promotions at the end of ABC programs, often while the show's still running, meaning viewers miss out on crucial content. An annoying intrusion or just a ploy to patch over weak material? That's tomorrow on Life Matters. I hope you can join me.